Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Vanilla Minecraft, episode number 20, which is kind of crazy to say. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it feels like these are going by super quick, even as infrequently as I release them. Anyway, today we're heading up to the Cheaty platform, which I was here earlier trying to set things up a little bit, and to be honest, I had completely forgotten what a mess I left behind when we finished working on the mob farms. Not that we were technically done anyway, there was a bunch that I wanted to do yet. I wanted to tweak the build a little bit. I wanted to redo the build on the storage system, because it is fully functional, but it's also very ugly at the moment. And obviously up here is just an absolute catastrophe. I have all kinds of chests to clean up. We have this mess going on over here. I never finished the portal. I never finished even coming up with an idea of what I wanted to do in the middle. Basically, we have a lot to do in this area yet. But that's not actually why we're up here today. Today we're starting a new project in this area, one of the big main ones, because as I've explained in the past, I wanted each path that goes out, because there are 3 of them, I wanted them each to lead to something major. So there were going to be 4 big builds here, including the mob tower, the iron farm, whatever goes down this way, and over here we're going to be building a villager breeder and trading system. So, obviously there's nothing going on over here yet, just a bunch of chests, which have been here for quite a while. They are 100% full of rotten flesh. This is all of the rotten flesh that was over in my mob farm before I redid it. I was too lazy to try and move all of that stuff further than here. But that works out pretty good, because once we build our villager trading area, and we get a cleric, it means that we're going to be able to turn all of this into emeralds, even if the rotten flesh trade is a rather tedious one. So, the villager breeding and trading area is, much like pretty much everything I build, not going to be something crazy and super efficient and amazing. It's mostly going to be something that will do everything that I need it to, it'll work relatively well, and it'll look cool in the process. Or, well, I don't know that I would say it'll look cool. The build for this one is a little bit more on the goofy side than the cool side, but it should be okay. You'll see what I mean when we get to it. But before we get to the actual building process, I would like to start getting some villagers over here. Now, this is not going to be too terrible, I don't think. We do have a few different options for doing so. The easiest option would honestly probably be to just go over to our iron farm right over there, nab a couple of villagers out, just 2 or 3, and then breed them back up in the iron golem farm itself to kind of redo the numbers. I think that would be fine, and that's probably the quickest and easiest way to go, but it also involves medium amounts of effort. I would have to set up rails all the way over there, I'd have to transport villagers and stuff like that. I think what I'm probably going to do instead is just build a big old spawning platform over here, like a 16 by 16 platform, and just try and get some zombie villagers spawning, and then cure them right on the spot, just so I don't need to deal with moving villagers all over the place and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and try and set that up and see how effective that really is. And then I'll get back to you guys once I have at least a couple villagers going, and we'll see how we go from there. That is music to my ears. So obviously we have quite a few villagers now. Our dark room trap worked relatively well, at least when I was alone on the server. When I first built it, there were people on, and they stayed on for hours, and it made the rates just abysmal. It actually took several hours for me to find the first 2 zombie villagers to convert, which wasn't the end of the world because I was mostly AFK, but if you're really actively trying to get villagers up to a high place like this, and you're not the only person on the server, or you're not in a single-player world, you may want to find them elsewhere and transport them, because it does take a long time otherwise. Though, once everyone was off the server, it took only a few minutes before I got like 4 more. So, you know, if you can get alone, it works relatively well. Anyway, we have plenty of villagers now. Unfortunately, they are all kind of rubbish. We have 2 white coats that are both cartographers instead of librarians. We have like 5 nitwits in this group. I think we have 1 farmer right over there, though he is actually a fisherman. And just in general, their trades are kind of rubbish, which is unfortunate, but they're going to be going into a breeder anyway, at least most of them, so it's not the end of the world. Anyway, now that we have these guys, it's time to build the structure that they're going to go into. So I'm going to expand this path out a little bit and build the build that they go into, both the area for the breeder itself, as well as the area where we're going to be storing the villagers that we'll be trading with. So that's all going to go out right here. I'm still a little hazy on some of the details of how it's going to work. In particular, the breeder. It's a little iffy yet. The design I have is kind of crammed in there and kind of questionable, but we'll wing it. I'm sure it'll work out just fine. So I'm going to go and get to that, and I'll bring you guys back in once the build is up. So here is our silly villager trading build. It's not 100% done yet. I'm still going to continue the glass rail along the outside, and there's a couple really small things to do yet, but you get the general idea. And after I built this, I realized that I think I have a bit of a problem when it comes to building big things to put small things into. Like, this is the third time in this series that I've done that. We built the AFK fish farm over there inside of a big fish. We recently built the flower farm inside of a giant flower. And now we have the villager hall villager guy. I really need to stop doing that. Anyway, how this works is basically we have 6 little trading spots on each side of each arm. That includes the outside as well. And in each of those spots, we can actually hold 2 villagers. So I have some armor stands here to demonstrate. If we have an entity in here, and we come over here and push this wooden button, you can see him bounce a little bit down below, but he goes down. And if we have 2 of them, one on the bottom and one on the top, and you push the button, they will alternate. And I don't think it'll ever fail. I haven't seen it fail in all of my testing, so I assume it'll be good. We'll find out. If I ever end up with doubled up villagers, well, I'll deal with it then. But I think for right now, this will do just fine. Put that back. I may change out this wooden button. I could put a stone button on this bottom part, and it would probably look a little better. Though, after I put those in place and took a step back, I realized that they totally look like little wooden nipples, which, to me, is really funny. So I'm probably going to keep that, just because. And there's also a set on the other side as well. When you push either side of the button, it flips the entire arm, just because it made the redstone way easier to do that way. So that's how that works. If we hop inside of the villager, which is not particularly pleasant at the moment, but we can hop down here. I'll probably have to make a better way to get into the redstone at some point, because we do need to come down here to filter out the villagers eventually. But this is what it looks like down here. It's very, very simplistic. Basically, the entire swapping mechanism is only 3 sets of pistons going off. We push these, which move these blocks forward, replaces them with fence gates so the villagers fall through them. And then we trigger these pistons, which launches anything that's down here up top. And then shortly after, we trigger this piston back here, or these couple rather, which will push the blocks back into place and get a solid floor up above again. So that's how all of that works. Very, very simplistic, but it will do just fine. Obviously, we're not going to have all of the fancy schmancy stuff that you can really get with a villager trading area. We're not going to have like fully automated items being dispersed all over so that it makes trading super duper quick. Realistically, I don't think that actually helps too much, so I'm not too fussed about it. Anyway, now we have kind of an important step that we need to take care of. Obviously, we still have all of our villagers over here, and I need to get a lot of them inside of this guy. And I also need to set up the entire trading system itself, or breeding system rather, that's what I meant. I need to set up the entire breeding system inside of here, as well as a way to filter out the babies from it and all kinds of stuff, which in an area like this is probably going to be a little bit of a problem. But I think I have most of it figured out. I'll see. But I'm going to go and get to that and take care of the lovely process of moving villagers, and I'll be back with you guys once we're ready to kind of get to trading. Okay, we're moving the last villager into place. This is going to be the guy that goes into our little fake village up at the top. And honestly, this process has gone relatively well. I've been using water like this, and it kind of speeds up the process, and they haven't been fighting me too much, thankfully. Though, I do still wish we had a more reliable way to move villagers around. Like, if we could just dangle an emerald in front of them and have them kind of run with us, that would be great. Or, I don't know, tie a lead to their nose or something. Give us some way to control them, because it really is a pain moving them around. But once we get this guy in place, our breeder should technically be up and running. It is probably going to be changing a little bit. I did kind of throw things together, admittedly. I'll show you guys what all has been done soon. You're going to be stuck in that corner, aren't you? Let's see. How about... Can I... Come on. There you go. There we go. Upsy daisy. Just a few more steps. Up, up, up. We're almost there, buddy. Almost to your new home. Okay. Of course you're going to get stuck in that last corner. No, not that way. How am I going to get you in here? Let's see. Go that way, and then go this way? Oh no, I'm pushing my minecart away. And I'm giving him an escape route. Okay, rail. Oh, don't go back into that corner, please. No! How am I going to do this? Let's see. You go there. That rail needs to go down. Can I just push you into that cart even though it's not on a rail? Of course not. Cart on the rail. Villager. You're stuck in a corner again. Oh, I don't like you. This one's a jerk. The rest of them were really cooperative. This one, though. Yeah, Get. Ah. Do I have an emerald on me? No. If I could just dangle an emerald right now, just get in the cart, dang it. Okay, well, I'm going to wrestle with this guy for a minute, and I'll be back with you guys once he's decided to accept his fate and sit in the dang cart. Haha. So I finally got this guy in. He was basically the Houdini of escaping the minecart. He really didn't want to be in there, but we got him. And I've already seen the villagers cranking out hearts, and I think even a baby or two already. So, obviously, our breeder is working, though I'm probably going to be changing it at some point yet. This is based on an old Unary bit design, I think. When I design stuff in Minecraft, or when I build stuff in Minecraft, I never really go and look up designs. I always go based on what I know, what I've seen elsewhere, and I just kind of try and mix my own style into it. In this case, I just went with what was kind of in my head from what I've seen with other villager breeders, and it works out okay, but I kind of want to try and design something that's better suited to this area. So I've been trying to work at that, and it's okay. It works sometimes, and it doesn't work sometimes. So I need to work out the kinks with it, apparently. But once I do that, we may be replacing this setup with something a little bit different. Until then, though, this is perfectly fine. The only thing it's really missing if I wanted to set this up fully is an automated system to feed these guys. I would just have to replace these dirt blocks with dispensers and kind of shoot food into them, which would be fine. But other than that, they seem, it seems like it's working, and it'll seem like it'll do just fine. So, now if we head down... I just realized I haven't left myself a way to get down. Let's break through the face of the villager and down like a so. I'll have to make a proper path down here at some point. But if we come over here, I assume I hear him. Yep, there's 2 or 3. Looks like at least 3, actually. There's a few little babies, villagers down there. Once they grow up, they will come up here, they'll drop in here, and then I can pull them out over here. Now, obviously, this is a very, very primitive and quite ugly. As I said before, we may be changing our breeding setup quite a bit, and until I do that, or at least until I decide what exactly I'm doing, I didn't want to finalize this area, because there is a chance that we will have to redo our villager collection system. So I didn't want to make some big elaborate system on this wall based on having them come up right here, because that might have to change. So for right now, this will do just fine. It's a little bit manual, but once these guys grow up, we will pull one of them out, and I'll show you how it's going to work for the time being at least. And then I'm probably going to be in the area for a little while and maybe throw those guys some more food. And I'll try and get a lot of villagers going on so that we can put a couple into our kind of holding cells and, properly start our villager trading hall stuff, So I'm going to wait here for these guys to grow up and maybe feed the villagers a little bit more, and I'll be back with you guys in just a little bit. An armorer, huh? And I don't have coal on me. So, I've been at this for a while, longer than I care to admit. The breeding system has some kind of weird issue where it goes through very long pauses where they refuse to breed, which is kind of strange because, let's see, iron? I can do the iron trade, right? It's kind of strange because the guys down here, oops, I already sent them up. Let's pull those down so you can see that we have a few in the system and that the system actually works. Did you unlock more? Unbreaking 2. I'll keep him for now, I guess. Anyway, I put a few villagers into the system, but like I was saying, for some reason our breeder goes through very long periods where they refuse to make any babies. And I'm not entirely sure why that is. Like, I'm aware of the 3-minute long delay when you kill a villager where they won't breed anymore, but they go through really long stretches between when they're willing to breed, and the guys down here are just willing all the time. Like, they're pooping out hearts all day long. But for some reason, the guys up there, even if I go and trade them, and even if I'm positive that there's a couple that are willing, there's still really long gaps between when they actually crank out a baby, which is strange. So I'm going to have to look into that. Like I said before, we'll probably be replacing all of that anyway, but it's still a little strange how they're behaving at the moment. Anyway, as you can see, I've saved a couple villagers so far. None of them are particularly good. They'll probably be quickly replaced, but I wanted to get a few into the system just so you could see how it was going to work. So this guy, for example, what did he have? Fire Protection 3, don't really care. Frostwalker 2 for a good price. That's why I saved that one. So he'll probably stick around for a while. This guy I don't think had much. Curse of Binding is fun for trolley purposes, but a 4 glass trade... Projectile protection, Respiration 3, but it's super expensive. We'll probably be replacing him pretty quick. And honestly, I think that's the same case with these guys. I think this guy has the 3 glowstone trade, but his other trades are mediocre. And this guy has a Efficiency 2 Unbreaking 2 pick, which it's nothing special, but it's good for like netherrack, for example. You can just buy a load of these and burn through a bunch of netherrack. So stuff like that. We'll probably be replacing these guys, as I said, but I wanted to get a few in there. So let's go ahead and send them up above and hop up top ourselves, just so you can kind of see what they look like up here, see what we got going on. Shoot hearts right out through the arm. So as you can see, we can just pop our villagers up, and it should work every time. Now, we do have one other kind of problem that I've been thinking about, and that's that we had no way of identifying what the villagers were kind of selling, right? We could put signs above that would describe what the villagers in this cell would have, and that would work okay, but that's not particularly attractive. Then I thought maybe we could put item frames like in between like this, but that's a little bit, like having that across the entire side with different items in every single one, that looks a little bit clumsy to me. And then I was thinking about doing this, and I think that that might actually look okay. So basically the idea would be that, let's say this guy was selling a feather falling book. We'd put a feather in here to indicate that that's like the main trade that we want from a particular guy, and we could even rename that item so that you'd walk over here, you'd mouse over the feather, and it would say, you know, FF for feather falling, and then the price, say it's like 15 emeralds or 30 or whatever they cost. And then we could even probably fit a few in. I think the character limit's like 30, so we could probably get a few trades in like that. And then each villager would have an item frame dedicated to it and kind of visually showing what its main trade would be. So, Frostwalker might have ice, protection. We might just put a chest plate in there. You get the idea, stuff like that. So that might be a decent way to kind of demonstrate what's in each spot. I don't know. The signs above would work out just fine. So let me know what you guys think about that, which direction you think would look best in that regard. And we'll see. Maybe once I do it on a few, I'll kind of make up my mind specifically. But for right now, I think that's going to do it. And I think that's also going to do it for us here today. So this project still has a long ways to go. I still need to do all kinds of stuff. We need to fix the breeder itself, because obviously it's a bit messy at the moment. We need to sort out all of the random problems we're having, which, by the way, I'm struggling to get our actual breeder breeding, but these guys over here have managed to breed like 3 times. I don't know how. I honestly don't. I removed all the crops. I'm guessing this guy threw just enough out to cause that, but goodness. These guys are just so uncooperative. Anyway, that's going to be our project for today. Pronunciations. And hopefully we'll finish it up next time. At least that's the plan right now. I want to finish up the little details we have up here, get everything functional, and hopefully clean up everything down below so that it's both accessible and more usable. Because obviously right now everything's kind of ugly and manual, which is no cool. No cool? No good. I must be tired. So with that, I'm going to get going for today. I hope you guys had an awesome time. Hopefully you will join me for the next episode, and hopefully we can get this sorted out and get our breeder properly working. But until then, have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys next time. What you looking at?